The Middle East has plunged into a deepening crisis following Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem al-Quds as Israel's capital. The crisis is now threatening to suck regional countries into the vortex. After Trump's move, al-Qaeda called on all its members and those of other militant groups to close ranks to support Palestinians. The group is calling its branch in the region as al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and some of its members are operating in Yemen. The organization's threat to carry out attacks against U.S. interests has caused fears that Washington might use this as a pretext to launch a ground incursion into Yemen. U.S. intervention in the war-torn country would definitely not be aimed at al-Qaeda alone. It would be directed mainly against the Ansarullah movement.
It's a dangerous moment. Donald Trump and his backers in the U.S. are making the world a very, very dangerous place. Those people who are fighting for freedom and against foreign domination obviously face a major enemy in Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is seen by his support for Israeli ethnic cleansing, by his use of drones to kill people across different parts of the Middle East, by his bellicose saber rattling and desire to dominate powers in the Middle East. He is used by al-Qaeda as a recruiting sergeant.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has urged Europe to follow in the footsteps of Arab states and change their policies on Israel. In comments which clearly showed he had been emboldened by Trump's al-Quds move, Netanyahu said, quote, "I ask that your policies to Israel, especially if you are from Europe, that your actual policies be no more and no less than the policies of the Arab world." Did you hear what I just said? The actual policies of your countries will be actual policies of the Arab world.
Donald Trump has given Israel what it is not his to give. Jerusalem. He's acting in a long tradition whereby 100 years ago Britain gave Palestine to European colonization, something it was not Britain's to give. And I stress this was many, many years, decades before the Holocaust in Europe. So the colonization project that Britain launched for Europeans to colonize Palestine is really the tradition in which Donald Trump is standing when he dares to give Jerusalem to the Zionist project.
Europe has opposed Israel's aggression against Palestinians and its settlement expansions and land grabs in Palestinian territories, which are all in violation of international law. Israel has developed covert ties with Arab states that on the surface do not recognize the regime. The most notorious relationship developed recently has been that between Israel and Saudi Arabia. The two are said to have formed what critics call an unholy alliance against Iran.
For a very long time, we've known that Tel Aviv and Riyadh report to the same head office. They have the same very tight military and arms agreements with the USA. They're effectively two branches of the same giant company with its headquarters in Washington. And they have been working together under the table against the interests of the whole people of the Middle East for a very, very long time. What's happening now is, I think, the al-Saud regime is becoming even more shameless, more open, and it's an absolutely unprecedented step for a regime which claims to be standing for Muslims to be prepared to give the Al-Aqsa Mosque, control of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, to the Israelis.
The US president's policy shifts on global issues have been stoking crises in the Middle East and beyond. Trump has given Israel the green light to do as he desires in Palestinian territories without fearing the consequences. Trump has also taken a tough line on Muslim nations, imposing a travel ban on several Islamic countries and openly making hate speeches against Muslims in the US. His predecessor, Barack Obama, has warned of what he has described as the fragility of the American democracy in the face of bigotry and nativism, in an unmistakable reference to the US president. Speaking at a think tank in Chicago, Obama referred to the rise of the Nazi German dictator Adolf Hitler in a bid to draw parallel between Hitler and Trump. Latest opinion polls show Trump's popularity has plummeted in the US, but the world must brace itself for more shocks as the end of his first term in office is 3 years away.